Big storms will bring multiple rounds of severe weather to much of the country from Washington state to the state of North Carolina as a wild and active pattern sets in. This pattern is going to hit differently than the one we've been in, and it's going to bring multiple severe weather hazards. I'm going to tell you who is under the gun for severe weather, when, and just exactly how that's going to play out. So we're going to take a look at that, but we're going to start as we typically do with our satellite imagery, and you can see this big area of counterclockwise swirl off the west coast. This is a big storm system, and it's going to move toward the United States and really come ashore as we go in, or parts of it are going to come ashore as we go on in to the next 24 to 36 hours. Clouds associated with that are streaming down into the high plains, and then we have another subtropical wave in the southern branch of the jet stream, and it's bringing an area of showers and storms to portions of Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. And so you guys are seeing some heavy rain falling under those clouds this morning. Another little area up here bringing some high clouds and some light snow showers to portions of the Great Lakes. All of that activity is working off to the east. If we take a look at our radar imagery, we can see down here in places like Wichita Falls, and here, let's move this over. Wichita Falls into Texarkana, you are seeing some rumbles of, hearing some rumbles of thunder, seeing some light rainfall. Then you've got some light rain and mixed precipitation up here in the high plains, and then over here in the Great Lakes, that's where we're looking at snow showers. Not going to see much in the way of accumulation, but you take it slow if you're driving around up there. So we're not looking at, again, a lot of accumulation up there. So as we suspected yesterday, the Storm Prediction Center has upgraded a portion of this marginal risk to a slight risk from just south of Portland up into the Seattle-Tacoma area for predominantly large hail, hail greater than 2 inches in diameter. You can see that here on the hazards map, and 15% chance of large hail. So instability working onshore with that storm system, and a little bit of rotation will cause some of those updrafts to rotate, creating conditions ripe for large hail. This is unusual. I think this is the first time you all have ever had severe hail in the forecast. And so what's driving that this afternoon? Temperatures is just surging up. We've got 10 to 20 degrees above average, potentially some all-time record highs set up here in Washington and Oregon this afternoon. If temperatures can climb up into the 80s, you'll see some all-time March record highs, I mean to say. So watch out for that. That'll set the stage. Pay attention for alerts this afternoon. As the day wears on, you may be under a severe thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch. Thunderstorms break out around 2 or 3 o'clock, and then move up from Oregon. You can see that here on the map, and then organize a little bit as the day wears on, and you get 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. We're looking at storms moving into Seattle, and then they will die off and diminish as the heating of the day wears on. Even down out here in Spokane, you all could see some wind as well. So watch out up in the northeast or the northwest today. Pay attention, stay weather aware, have multiple ways of getting alerts, and stay safe up there. Now, this afternoon, as we look at the rest of the country, we've got a system diving in through the Midwest, bringing some showers and storms here in the Corn Belt into the Midwest, and then have the umbrellas handy in South Texas today. It's going to be a slow commute this afternoon with heavy rain potentially setting up in Texas, general thunderstorm activity across the lower Mississippi Valley, and then some snow shower activity where it's still cold enough up here in the Northeast. High temperatures today generally much warmer than normal out west, with 60s, 70s, even close to 80 in spots out here in the Pacific Northwest, and then down into the plains, South Texas. It's where it's rainy. It'll be a little bit cooler, but generally 60s, 70s, and 80s across the South. Nice day if you've got outdoor plans, get outside and enjoy those. Trough up in the Northeast hangs on with some snow showers and chillier than normal temperatures hanging on up there. That brings us to today's Weather IQ question, and this question is about hurricanes. What is the most intense storm system recorded on Earth in terms of barometric pressure? A, Typhoon Tip, B, Hurricane Katrina, C, Super Typhoon Haiyan, or Hurricane Wilma. So if you know the answer, type it in the comments. If you don't, stay tuned to the end of the show and I will reveal it to you. Now, before we get to the rest of our show, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. If you like the content, hit that little thumbs up button, give us a like, and leave a comment in the comment section. It could be a prayer request. If there's something I could pray over for you, I'm happy to do that. Comment about the show, question about weather, happy to answer any of those comments that come up. All of that engagement shows YouTube that you like the content and it'll push it out to more people and grow the show. We're up to 210 subscribers now. That's great. And I really appreciate you all watching, and hopefully you're learning something and it's fun. And so with that in mind, we'll go ahead and get into the rest of the show. This is your 5-day average ending later this weekend. And so look at this map. This is an anomaly map of temperatures, and it shows the extent of above normal or below normal temperatures. Below normal up in Canada, much of the United States is much above. We start the week above out here, and we're going to end it a little bit below. Start the week below in the Northeast, and we're going to end it a little bit above, but most of the country is going to end the week above normal temperature wise. Our jet stream pattern is what drives temperatures, and it drives storm systems. Storm systems flow along in the jet stream, and you can see that depicted by these brighter colors here. And so if we put, we see a high pressure dome out here. This is this afternoon, and essentially a trough here in the Northeast, bringing cooler temperatures. Higher temperatures or warmer temperatures are under this high, and that's the flow of the jet. Now watch what happens as we put this into motion. That high pressure ridge moves toward the east. A trough forms along the west coast. That trough in the Northeast moves out, and the jet stream begins to change its position and poke into California. So as we start to see systems crashing into California, California is going to turn wet. The West Coast is going to turn wet. These systems are going to move over. So we're looking at Saturday here, move over into the plains now. Instead of diving out of the Northwest, they're going to be moving into the plains and drawing up moisture out of the Gulf. And you can see here as we get into Sunday, we've got a low pressure that's developing, not as strong as the last one, but it's able to turn the flow, with the jet position. It's going to turn the flow out of the south, bringing in moisture out of the Gulf. And you're going to start to see a big warm sector develop that sets the stage for a severe weather threat into the weekend, which we're going to look at. Now, in the meantime, we've got a few areas that we're going to pay attention to for severe weather as we go through the week. One is down here in South Texas, where tomorrow afternoon you could see showers, thunderstorms, hail, high winds. In this area, vigorous updrafts will develop here, and so we'll see a slight risk of severe weather with a marginal risk surrounding that, and then a marginal risk to the Corn Belt where 1 or 2 hail reports are not out of the question. And as we look on into Friday, the threat shifts east down here in Texas into the Arklatex with a marginal risk as it stands today. Potentially some extra instability will get added into the pattern, and we could see that upgraded to a slight risk. We'll have to watch and see how that goes over the next couple of days. And then a marginal risk for a couple of reports out of Nebraska possible. And so the way the weather looks tomorrow and Friday, showers and thunderstorms are the rule down in southern Texas, so have those umbrellas handy driving around down there. Keep it slow. A little bit of shower and thunderstorm activity through the afternoon tomorrow into the Great Plains, mid-Mississippi Valley, and another storm system moving into the west as we saw before that's going to bring rain and snow to the higher elevations out there. That continues on Friday. This stationary area of rain is going to bring heavy rain to South Texas, so continue to watch out for that. We've got another storm system getting its act together in the plains, little waves of low pressure tracking across the Midwest, diving down into the Southeast will bring some high clouds and showers for you all out there. Temperatures tomorrow afternoon as we round out the end of the work week. Cooler with the storm activity in the Northwest, much warmer in the Great Plains. Temperatures surging into the 80s all the way up into the Missouri Valley and into the Tennessee Valley down here in the Southeast, starting to finally warm up in the Middle Atlantic and up into the Northeast. It's not quite as cold as it was. And then on Friday, you can see that ridge we were talking about pushing east. Well, it's doing so like gangbusters. It's just traveling across the country, cooler out west, warmer 60s, 70s, and 80s. Where it's raining, it's going to be a little bit cooler, so you can see that reflected here on the temperature map. And then we rebound into the Southeast and the Northeast. Cools down again one more time behind a little wave of low pressure, but that's going to change as we work into the weekend. Today's Do You Know is about hail. I thought that would be appropriate since we have so many hail threats coming up over the next few days. So, do you know that the largest hailstone ever recorded in the United States fell on July the 23rd, 2010 in Vivian, South Dakota? The hailstone measured nearly 8 inches in diameter and weighed almost 2 pounds. That's big hail, folks. Would not like for that to fall on my house or car or anything else that I own. Stay away from that hail. As we take a look at our weekend outlook, We're going to start out on Saturday with some rain showers and thunderstorms along the lower Mississippi Valley. So far, we don't have a severe weather outlook for Saturday yet. However, that may change as we get on into the end of the week. So pay attention, stay tuned. I'll have updates as we go through. Frontal zone stretched across the north will be the focus for showers, potentially snow on the northern side of that. Snow back into Montana and the Pacific Northwest is still unsettled there. As we get into Saturday afternoon in terms of our temperatures, troughing develops in the west with below normal highs out there, and then highs surging into the 60s and 70s across much of the central and eastern portion of the country. This is going to set the stage for Sunday for a severe weather threat. And to that end, the Storm Prediction Center has a wide area of a severe weather threat here popping up for much of the lower Mississippi Valley into the Tennessee and Ohio valleys. That threat shifts east on Monday, but we're looking at an all hazards event. Tornadoes are possible given some of the veering of the winds with height and strong instability in some areas given all of the deep moisture surging in off the Gulf. We can actually see that here in our dew point map. This is the European dew point map valid for Sunday morning. And if we roll this on through the day on Sunday, look at these dew points. Remember last event when there was just this tiny little sector of dew points coming in? Well, this is a wide warm sector with dew points in the 70s down here along the Gulf Coast, all the way with 60s all the way up into the Great Lakes area. So this is going to be set the stage for plenty of instability. You can see that instability building out here over Texas and into the Mississippi Valley, into the Tennessee Valley. Look at this as we roll this out Sunday into Sunday evening into Monday. Plenty of instability. These green colors that you see, yellow's getting pretty strong. Reds and oranges are really, really strong. And so green colors are plentiful here. So getting into the day on Monday afternoon, the threat exists into North Carolina. It starts to abate here in diminish over here in the Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley. The European model, let's drive this back so we can see how this evolves. Saturday afternoon, we've got some thunderstorms forming here along Louisiana up into Shreveport, Mobile, Alabama, eventually getting on it, up into Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi. You guys are going to see some thunder. And so all of these areas along the south will start to see some thunder and shower and thunderstorm activity as we get into the day, Saturday afternoon. Again, we don't have a severe weather risk for Saturday yet, but that may change as we go through. Now, we get into Sunday morning, we start to see showers pop up across a wide area. Particularly pay attention up here in Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, and western Tennessee. Look at this. So we start to see Sunday afternoon into the evening hours, really overnight on Sunday. Look at this big area of showers and thunderstorms that seem to organize into a line. So we're going to have line segments, we're going to have bowing segments, we're going to have a high wind potential with this. We're going to have tornado threat where there's rotation, and there's certainly going to be some rotation in some areas. This system is different from the last system in that we're not going to have a big, deep 975 millibar low, but we will have a broad area of lift that will work on that instability, and there will be enough shear as we go upstairs to create a severe threat across much of the mid and lower Mississippi valleys into the Tennessee and Ohio Valley up into the Great Lakes region, lower Great Lakes, I should say. And then that threat will shift east as we go through the day into Sunday and Sunday night. That diminishes. Monday afternoon, it picks back up. So that is our severe weather threat. Pay attention as we get into the end of the week, and we will see how this unfolds. Sunday afternoon, we're looking at that storm system winding up. General shower and thunderstorm activity down here in the warm sector in the south eastern quadrant of the country. Snow back here in the Rockies coming into the Great Plains, and then snow across the Great Lakes as that system winds up. And then temperatures Sunday afternoon well into the 60s, 70s, and 80s in the east, chilly back into the north 30s and 40s, and then still chilly across the northeast. Looking way out in time, week 2, above normal for much of the eastern and southeastern sections of the country, progressively warmer as you get farther southeast, a little bit below normal hanging on the northwest. Precipitation above normal as that jet continues to crash, brings system after system across the country. Above normal to the north, below normal to the south, particularly in Florida. And your probabilities for an inch or more of snowfall, we're looking at generally that's across the Rockies, the higher elevations, and into New England, where it just wants to be stubbornly cold, and these systems track just south enough to give you a few inches of snow over into northern New England. And so that, my friends, is your weather outlook for the week into the weekend. Pay close attention every day, because as we get closer in time to these severe weather outlook events, things can change, and the Storm Prediction Center will often upgrade these events. We see that happen quite a bit. So watch out as we get close to the weekend. Pacific Northwest friends, you guys watch out this afternoon and keep your weather radios handy. That brings us to the end of our show, and we'll wrap it up with the answer to today's trivia question, or our Weather IQ question. What's the most intense storm ever recorded on Earth in terms of barometric pressure? Typhoon Tip, Hurricane Katrina, Super Typhoon Haiyan, or Hurricane Wilma? And the answer is Typhoon Tip had a barometric pressure in 1979 of 870 millibars. That is the lowest ever, with a max sustained wind of 190 miles per hour. Hurricane Patricia, we looked at before several days ago, a couple of weeks ago, it fell to 972, so it was almost there, but her max sustained winds were 215 miles per hour. Very, 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 very strong winds. Now, hope you all have a great afternoon, and I may not have a video tomorrow. I'm doing some traveling, but I'll have an update probably in the form of a short. So follow me on X at realcoldrain.com, and this is Cold Rain reminding you, if other stations run 24/7, we got you covered 48/14. Take care, everybody. Have a great afternoon.